This is not Tokyo, evidently. This is not Toronto, where Oki was born in 1977. Here we have Oki Sato, the rising star of Japanese design. Actually, I always ask to myself, why then you called Nendo the group? Because basically on your website it's Nendo Oki Sato. I mean, why don't you want to push your own name? Because basically everything comes out from your mind, right?
Yes, that's right. Nendo means free-formed clay. Argilla, I think.
Oh, really?
Okay,
yeah,
yes. Okay.
That's something interesting.
It's very flexible. It changes color, it changes shapes and sizes, and that's sort of one of my philosophies of design.
It's your manifesto of intention.
Yes, I guess so. Yes. So
okay,
that's why
interesting.
I feel much comfortable when it has Nendo on my products and my projects.
So, Oki, we had an interview with Tokujin 2 days ago.
Okay.
And it was very interesting how the Japanese culture sometimes is like a wall, a rubber wall.
A rubber wall?
A rubber wall. Okay. Just try to go there, just
bounces back.
Bounces back, right.
Okay.
But I think that because of your Toronto origin, or I don't know, you look like more Napolitan to me, more Italian to me. For example, your hair are grey like you, you're yes, kind of a punk.
Maybe it's kind of a punk, I guess.
Cool, eh? But if he does that, it means he's got a mind that goes in that direction. That's interesting. So, I want you to give me the other face of Japan. Because really, the face of Tokujin was like, okay. I want your face of Japan. Give us your interpretation, because it's very interesting to, of course, to confront cultures, right? And we want to know the philosophy behind your mind.
That's very difficult.
No, that's true. That's a very complex question. Okay, let's start from this project for Antonia Iannone. Actually, this is Antonia's house. It's a very beautiful courtyard in Milano. And I mean, this very small project, let's reduce the scale. Okay, we look like Gulliver now. Let's reduce the scale. Andrea, follow us. Yes. I mean, why this kind of intervention?
This is one of my approaches to design. Sometimes I want to have objects growing into different functions or different designs. So let's say a stool, a backrest grows and it becomes a chair. An armrest grows and it becomes an armchair. It goes this way, it becomes a bench. The other way, it becomes a chaise longue. It becomes larger, it becomes a bed. I was thinking besides materials or functions, not starting from the human body or the environment. I was thinking maybe an object can grow into something else. So this is maybe something that's going on in my head.
But can I interrupt just a minute? Because this is like a Platonic idea of a vase, but it's much more of the Western idea of a vase, because I don't think that this is very archetypical in Japan.
It's a pot, so it's not a vase. It's alive. A vase, when a flower's in a vase, it's dead. It keeps on dying. But when it's a pot,
it's a pot. In English, it's a pot, right?
Yes.
But in Japan, you have pots with this shape, really.
Yes,
I thought it was very Western, this kind of shape
it's
of
the
a pot.
Same. It's the same.
Really, it's the same.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's like it's like small poetry, basically. It's like haikus in a way, right?
Yes. Or maybe it's similar to bonsai.
Bonsai.
Interesting. Bonsai is like small pots with small plants, and it's a very small scale of large nature, I guess. And that's why maybe I'm making small models all the time.
You know, I believe there is also a very strong and interesting sense of irony in your work. For example, in the mental health clinic, or in the adults baby bar that you just published on Domus. I very much like the irony behind your work. I mean, how come? I mean, irony is not so common in Japan, right?
Maybe, yes, that's right.
So where does it come from? Does it come from your Canadian past?
Maybe from Toronto. I don't know how much it's influencing me, but I was born in Canada, and I grew up until I was 10 years old. So I was a foreigner when I first went to Tokyo. I didn't know anything. Everything was new to me. And I've been living there for 20 years, but I still have a little bit of sense of, as a foreigner living in Tokyo. I think I see things, Japanese things, a little differently than the Japanese people who were born and who were growing up in Japan. So maybe that might be influencing me. So seeing things in a different perspective, I think.
Working with Issei Miyake, how was it? Working for Issei Miyake, how was it? Because you did a shop with him.
It was very exciting, yes.
But you approached that work without irony in that case. I mean, some of your work stands on different tracks. I mean, let's say what you've done for Cappellini looks much more similar to what you've done for Issei Miyake. So it's like there is two parallel ways in your approach to the work, right? Can you recognize it or not?
No, I didn't think of it that way.
You didn't think of it?
I was thinking Issei Miyake, his clothes are full of color and they're very light and they're very fluffy in a way. They have a lot of volume. So it's a lot of volume of colors. So I thought the store should be all white and it should have only lines. So the entire store is made of 7mm thick steel rods, and that's it. So the hangers, the shelves, everything.
Yeah, but very plain, very modular. I mean, and then you see the mental health clinic, and you say, "Is it from the same guy?" You know what I mean? It's like, but it's interesting. I mean, I wanna understand which is your left side and your right side. For example, whose glasses are these?
I don't. They're made in Japan, I think.
Made in Japan.
It's not a designer. I don't think.
No, because someone like you has to choose all the details. I mean, you're a famous designer.
No.
Let's get inside. We want to see the show from the inside.